안녕하세요. 산타 잉글리시입니다. 오늘은 Magic Treehouse Book 10 Ghost Town at Sundown 책을 처음부터 끝까지 읽어보도록 하겠습니다.
Chapter 1. How wild.
Jack and Annie were sitting on the porch of their house. Annie was gazing down the street at the Fall Creek woods. Jack was reading a book. "I have a feeling we should check the woods again," said Annie. "Why?" said Jack without looking up. "A rabbit's hopping by," said Annie. So, we've seen rabbits before? "Not like this one," said Annie. "What do you mean?" Jack stood up and looked at her. He saw a rabbit with very long legs hopping down the street. Soon the rabbit left the sidewalk and headed into the woods. "He's a sign," said Annie. "A sign made of wood," said Jack. "Then Morgan's back," said Annie. She jumped out of the porch. "Come on!" "But what about the dinner?" Jack asked. "Dad said it would be ready soon." "Don't worry," said Annie. "You know when we leave the treehouse, time stops." She ran across the yard. Jack pulled on his backpack. "Back in 10 minutes," he called through the screen door. Then he followed Annie. They hurried down the street and into the Fall Creek woods. The sun was setting above the trees. "There he is," said Annie. The rabbit was standing in the ray of sunlight. When we saw them, he took off. Jack and Annie followed the ant until he vanished behind the tallest tree. "I told you." "Say," said Annie, panting. She pointed up at the tree. Morgan Le Fay was waving to them from the magic treehouse high in the branches. Jack and Annie waved back to her. As always, Jack was very happy to see the ancient library again. "Come on up," she called. Annie and Jack stared up the rope ladder. They climbed up to the treehouse. "We followed a strange rabbit here," said Annie. "Is she a friend?" "Perhaps," said Morgan. She smiled mysteriously. "I have many odd friends, including us," said Annie. Morgan laughed. "That's right. How are you?" said Jack. "I'm still having problems with Merlin," said the enchantress, "which leaves me little time to do my real work. But soon you both will become master librarians, and that will be a big help to me." Jack smiled. He was going to be a master librarian who traveled through time and space. It was almost too good to believe. "Are you ready to solve another riddle?" asked Morgan. "Yes," said Jack and Annie together. "Good," said Morgan. "First, you'll need this research." She put out a book from the rope and handed it to Jack. It was the book that would help them on journeys. The title of the book was Days of the Wild West. On the cover was a picture of a western town and a prairie. "Oh, wow," said Annie. "The Wild West." Jack took a deep breath. Just how wild, he wondered. Morgan reached into the folds of robe again and pulled out the scroll. She handed it to Annie. "Read this when the treehouse lands," she said. "Is it the riddle?" asked Jack. "Yes," said Morgan. "Then you only have 2 more to solve. Are you ready to go?" Jack and Annie nodded. Annie pointed to the picture on the cover of the Wild West book. "I wish we could go there," she said. The wind started to blow. "Goodbye," said Morgan. "Good luck." The treehouse started to spin. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. The treehouse spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Jack opened his eyes. Morgan Le Fay was gone. A fly buzzed around his head.
Chapter 2. Rattlesnake Flats.
The air was hot and dry. Jack and Annie peeked outside. The treehouse was landed in the lone tree in the prairie. The sun was low in the sky. Right in front of them was the town from the cover of the book. In real life, it looked empty and spooky. To one side of the town was a patch of ground and several tombstones. "That's creepy," said Annie. "Yeah," said Jack. He took a deep breath. "What's your riddle say?" Annie held up the ancient scroll. She unrolled it. Then she and Jack read together. "Out of the blue, my lonely voice calls out to you. Who am I? Am I?" Jack pushed his glass into place and read the riddle again to himself. "There must be a mistake," he said. "Am I is written twice." "Well, I don't hear any voices now," Annie said as she looked out the window. There were no human sounds at all, only the buzzing of flies and the whistling of the dry wind. "Let's look at the book," Jack said. He opened the book. The pages were yellow with age. He found a picture of the town and read the words beneath it out loud. In the 1870s, Rattlesnake Flats was a rest stop for the stagecoach that carried passengers from Santa Fe, New Mexico to Fort Worth, Texas. When the creek dried up, everyone laughed. By 1880s, it was a ghost town. "Wow, a ghost town," said Annie, her eyes wide. "Let's take a quick look around," said Jack, "so we can leave before dark." "Right," said Annie. "Let's hurry." She started down the rope ladder. Jack put the old book into his pack. Then he followed Annie down the ladder. They stood by the tree and looked around. Tumbleweeds blew across the ground. Suddenly, something jumped past them. "Yikes!" they both said. But it was just a rabbit, a lone, long-legged rabbit hopping past them. "Hey, he's just like a rabbit we saw at home," said Jack. "Yeah, the rabbit must have been a sign of something to come," said Annie. The rabbit hopped across the prairie and out of sight. "I'd better take notes," said Jack. He reached into his backpack and took out a notebook and pencil. He wrote, "Rabbits with long legs." "What's the sound?" said Annie. "What sound?" asked Jack. "That rattling sound," said Annie. Jack looked up. "What?" he said. "There," and he pointed to the rattlesnake. It was about 100 feet away. It was cooled by rattling. Jack took one look at the snake and ran. Annie ran too. They ran past the graveyard and right into Ghost Town. "I guess what why to tell them calling Rattlesnake Flats," said Annie when they stopped. Jack looked around. The town was hardly big enough to call it a town. There was one paved street and a few old buildings. It was quiet, too quiet. "Look, a store," said Annie. She pointed to a building. The faded sign was "General Store." "Let's look inside. Maybe the answer to the riddle is there." Jack and Annie stepped onto the porch. The wooden boards creaked loudly. The door had fallen off in hinges. They peeked inside. The air was thick with dust. Spiders' web hung from the ceiling. "Maybe we shouldn't go in," said Jack. "But what if the answer's there?" said Annie. "Let's just take a quick look." Jack took a deep breath. "Okay." He and Annie tiptoed into the store. "Look," said Annie. She picked up a pair of rusty spurs. "Careful," said Jack. He poked at other stuff in the store, an old feed sacks, a rusted tin cup, a faded calendar dated 1878. "Oh, wow," said Annie. She held up 2 cowboys' hats. She put one on and handed it to other Jack. "For you." "It's too dusty," said Jack. "Just blow on it," said Annie. Jack blew on his hat. A cloud of dust rose up at Jack's knees. "Just try it on," said Annie. Jack put the hat on. It nearly covered his eyes. "Boots," said Annie. She pointed to a row of cowboy boots on the shelf. There are even small ones on the other size. These are a pair for you, she handed to Jack. They're not ours, he said. I know, but just try them on, said Annie. Jack turned his boots upside down and shook them hard as could. What are you doing? Annie asked, pulling on another pair of boots. Jack towards mine.
Jack said.
Jack, Annie laughed. Try them on. Jack sighed. He pulled his sneakers. He pushed the slate into his boot. He pushed and pushed. The boots were really stiff. Finally, he got his feet inside. Then he tried to walk. Ow! He said. Forget it. He started to pull off the boots. What's that? What's that? Annie said. Jack froze. Piano music, said Annie. Maybe it's voice in the riddle. Come on. Jack threw his sneakers into his backpack and hobbled after Annie.
Chapter 3. Player Piano.
Outside, the sad tune played on. It's coming from there, said Annie. She crept toward the building that had a sign with the word hotel on it. Jack limbered after her. Annie slowly pushed open the swinging door, then peeked inside. The fading daylight lit a piano in the corner of the room. The keys were moving up and down, but no one was there. Yikes, whispered Annie. A ghost playing the piano. Suddenly, the keys were still. The air got very cold. No way, said Jack. There's no such a thing as ghost. We saw in the ancient Egypt, whispered Annie. Yeah, but that was ancient Egypt, said Jack. Even so, his heart raised. I'll look it up. Jack pulled out the Wild West book. He found a picture of a piano. He read aloud. Player pianos were popular in the Old West. The piano played automatically when someone pumped its floor paddles. Later, with the help of electricity, the piano played all by itself. Phew! Jack closed the book. I knew there was an answer, he said. It must be electric, and somehow it came on. I didn't know they had electricity in the Wild West, said Annie. They didn't, said Jack. He looked at Annie. Oh man, let's get out of here, he said. Jack and Annie backed out of the hotel. When they got inside, they heard another sound. Horse-hooves thumping against the hard ground. A cloud of dust seemed to be moving towards the town. As it got closer, Jack saw 3 riders. They were herding a small band of horses. Hide, Jack said. Where? Said Annie. Jack looked around wildly. He saw 2 barrels outside the hotel. There, he said. Jack and Annie hurried to the empty barrels. Jack climbed inside and tried to squinch them. His head wouldn't fit. He jumped out of the barrel and threw his head into the hotel. Mine too, said Annie. Jack grabbed hers and threw it. Then he scrambled into the barrel. Just in time. Jack heard a horse thunder in the town. He peeped through the crack in the barrel and saw a pillar of cowboys and horses go by. Whoa, 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 man shouted. Jack heard the horses come to a halt. They stammered, snorted. All he could see were shadows through the crack. Dust covered Jack. He hit his knees. He pinched his nose. The creek bed piled up. A cowboy yelled, "This town's a ghost!" Yep, it's giving me shivers, said another. Let's camp over the lies. Jack really had to sneeze now. He pinched his nose tighter, but he couldn't stop the sneeze. He let out a choke. Achoo! What was that? Someone said. Just then a loud whinny split the air. Jack saw a beautiful horse rear up. She had no rider or saddle, just a rope around her neck. She was red as sunlight. She had wild black mane and a wide star above his eyes. "We can't fight fighting with some bows," a cowboy yelled. "Yup, she won a colt," another said. "We should have left him behind. He's too slow," a growly voice said. "We'll sail when we cross the border." That's terrible, thought Jack. He knew Annie was be upset too. He just hoped she wouldn't battle. But the cowboy pulled the red horse away. The ground rang from the pounding of the hoofs and galloped off. Jack and Annie stood up. They watched the riders disappear into the dust. The pounding faded away. All was quiet again, except for the lazy buzzing of flies. They were mean to that horse, Annie said in a low, angry voice. I know, but there was nothing we can do, said Jack. His boots were killing him. He climbed the barrel. Man, I have to get these off, he said. Jack sat down on the porch of the hotel. He gave the foot up to one and put. Jack, said Annie, I think there is something we can do. What? Jack looked up. A small horse was running down the road. He was as red as wild mother horse. He had a stained black mane and a white star above his eyes. A rope was around his neck. He looked up very lost.
Chapter 4. Hands Up.
It's the colt, said Annie. He's looking for his mother. She ran toward the wild-eyed little horse. Wait, called Jack. Oh, brother. He pulled the book out of his pack. He found a chapter titled Horse of the Wild West. He started reading. At the end of the 1800s, over the million wild horses, called mustangs, wandered the west.
These tough, fast horses were descendants
of runaway Spanish horses. Mustang herders captured them and sold them to ranchers. Breaking a wild Mustang took great skill. Jack turned the page. He was a picture of the herd of voices. Two of them even looked like a beautiful mare and a colt. Hey, Annie, Jack called. You should see this picture. Annie didn't answer. He looked up. Annie was trying to get close to the young Mustang, but he kept darting away. Watch it! He's wild, said Jack. Annie was speaking softly to the colt. She slowly reached out and grabbed the end of the rope. Still talking to him, she led him the broad wooden post. Stop! Don't do anything, said Jack. He flipped the pages of his book. He found a section called How to Treat a Horse. The basic rules on how to treat a horse were simple. A soft hand, a firm voice, a sunny attitude, praise, and reward. I've got the rules, shouted Jack. Don't do anything before I write them down. Jack pulled out his notebook and pencil. He wrote, Horses' rules. 1. Soft hands. 2. Firm voice. 3. Sunny attitude. 4. Praise. 5. Reward. Okay, listen. Jack looked up. But Annie was already sitting on the colt's back. Jack froze. He had his breath. The mustangs whined and pawed the ground. He snorted and tossed his head. Annie kept patting his neck and talking softly. Finally, the young horses grew still. Annie smiled at Jack. I named him Sunset, she said. Jack let out a breath. Let's go, said Annie. We have to take him to his mom. Are you nuts? said Jack. We have to solve our riddle. It'll be dark soon, and those guys were real bad guys, I can tell. We don't have any choice, said Annie. Oh, brother. Jack knew she was changing her mind. Let's see what the book says. He read more about mustangs. Wild mustangs live together in families. The bond between mare and her young is very strong. His sound of distress or hunger will always bring her to him. A mustang cannot bear to run alone. Jack groaned. He looked at Sunset. The young Mustang did have a sad look in his eyes. Okay, we'll make a plan, he said. But first, I have to get out of these boots. Jack grabbed one of his boots and pulled. Hurry, said Annie. I can't even think of these things, said Jack. He huffed and puffed and pulled. Then a deep voice shouted, he called, "Hands up, or I'll shoot." Jack let go of his boots. He raised his hands in the air. So did Annie. A cowboy rode out of the valley. His face was bronze and tanned. He was riding a gray horse and pointing a six-shooter. "I reckon you're the smallest horse thieves I had ever come across," he said.
Chapter 5. Slim. "We're not
"We're no
horse
thieves," said Annie. "Well then, what are you doing with my horse here?" he said. "Some bad guys came through town with his mother," said Annie. "They left him behind because he was too slow." "Yep, must be the rustler that stole my last 5 Mustangs," the cowboy said. "Who are you?" said Jack. "I'm a Mustang herder," the cowboy said. They rode through town. The sunset showed up all alone, said Annie. "We're talking to his mother." "Sunset," the cowboy said. Yep, Annie smiled. "I named him." The cowboy put away his six-shooters. "Well, you're pretty brave to try and rescue him, Smiley," he said. "Thanks," said Annie. Jack cleared his throat. "A Mustang needs his family," he said. "The bond between a mare and your hound is very strong." The cowboy looked at Jack. "Whoa, you're pretty smart to know that, Shorty." "Shorty," said Jack. "Every cowboy's gotta have a nickname," said the cowboy. "What's yours?" said Annie. "Slim," said the cowboy. My name is Slim Cooley, and this is Dusty." He patted his horse. "That fits," said Annie. Jack agreed. Slim was Slim, and Dusty was Dusty. "So tell me," Slim said, "how did you two brave, smart young'uns end in rattlesnake flats?" Jack caught his breath. He didn't know how to explain it. The stagecoach," said Annie. "We begged the driver to let us off, but I think we made a mistake." Slim shook around. "I'll say," he said. "When the next stagecoach comes, we're leaving," said Annie. "I say," said Slim. "Well, I'm going to take my colt now and find two lustres. You didn't hear it when they headed, did you?" "They said they were going to camp on the rise," said Jack. Must be over yonder," said Slim. He looked at the low rise in the distance. The sun was red above it. "Better get to before dark," he said. "Can you go with you?" said Slim.
"No,
"No,
we have
we
to
have to
stay here,"
Jack said quickly.
Now
Now
that
that
Slim couldn't help Sunset, Jack wanted to look for the answer to the riddle. Plus, he still wanted to take off his boots.
"Shorty's right to be scared,"
Slim said to Annie. "This is
"It's
no job for young'uns."
"Scared?" said Jack.
"Oh,
"Please, I want to go," said
Annie.
Slim looked at Jack. "And what do you want, Shorty?"
For
For
starters,
he wanted Slim to stop calling him Shorty, and he wanted Slim
think
to
he was
be
brave.
brave. "Sure, I want to go," said
said
Jack. "What about your stagecoach?" asked Slim. "It's not coming tomorrow," Annie said quickly. "Well," Slim scratched his chin, "I reckon your useful being smart helps, but you have to read everything I say." We will,"
said
said
Annie.
Annie. "Can I ride Sunset?" "I wouldn't say yes to many kids, Smiley, but you seem to have a knack with horses," said Slim. "Now, hang on tight to his mane. I'll just pull my line behind me." Slim slipped the rope off the post.
Then he
Then
held
he
his
held his
hand
hand
out to
to
Jack.
Jack. "Put your foot in the stirrup, Shorty, and grab my hand," said Slim.
Jack did as Slim said.
Slim
pulled him onto
them
the front of his saddle. Jack held onto the saddle horn. "Sit tight," said Slim.
"It's not far." Slim snapped his reins. Dusty took off the Sunset right behind him. Jack bounced up and down, his boots hurt. The sunlight blinded him. "Giddy up," said Slim. "Giddy up," said Annie. The horses galloped across the prairie, dust flying from their hooves. "Achoo!" Jack sneezed as he bounced along the setting sun.
Chapter 6. Split the Wind.
The sky was dark by the time they got to the rise. The wind was cool, almost cold. "Whoa," said Slim. Dusty slowed to the halt. "They're camped down there," Slim said in a low voice, "in the patch of trees." Jack saw a campfire at the bottom of the slope. He saw the horses gathered in the dark clump. One led a tidy whinny. "Hear that?" said Slim. "The mare. She sensed the sunset is nearby." The mare whinnied again. "Sounds like she's tied in a tree," said Slim. "I think the rest of the herd was loose." "What are our plan?" whispered Jack. "Smiley, you stay here and guard sunset," said Slim. "Right," said Annie. "Shorty, you and I ride down near the camp," said Slim. "You keep Dusty quiet while I cut the mare loose." "How do you keep the horse quiet?" wondered Jack. Once the mare loose, she'll break for sunset," said Slim. "Then you and Sunset take off, Smiley." "Got it," said Annie. "Then we'll split the wind," said Slim. "What that mean?" wondered Jack. "Till we get the Blue Canyon," said Slim. "Where's that?" wondered Jack. "All set?" "Any questions?" asked Slim. "Nope," said Annie cheerfully. "Yep, about 1,000,000, thought Jack. "Okay, partners," said Slim. "See ya soon, Smiley. Come on, Shorty." "Have fun," said Annie. "Fun," thought Jack. "Is she nuts? Our lives are at stake." Slim snapped the reins. Dusty started down the rise. They were lit by nearly full moon and 1,000,000 stars. "Maybe now I can ask Slim some questions," thought Jack. But just then a voice came from the rustlers' camp. There were mean voices, followed by mean laughter. A chill went through Jack. Dusty halted. "This is far enough," whispered Slim. He slipped off to Dusty. "Keep him here," Slim whispered to Jack, "and keep him quiet." "Wait," whispered Jack. He needed more information. But Slim was gone. Jack gripped the reins and held his breath. He hoped Dusty wouldn't do anything. For a moment Dusty was still, but then he snorted and began walking. "Oh no," thought Jack. He tried to think of the rules on how to treat a horse. He remembered. A soft hand, a firm voice. He patted Dusty softly. "Whoa," he said firmly. To his surprise, Dusty froze and was quiet. Jack remembered another rule, a sunny attitude. He patted Dusty again. "Don't worry," he whispered. "Everything's going to be fine." But just then the loud wind came from the house of Mustangs. Then he began moving up the moonlit slope. "Hey, the horses!" a rustler shouted. A gun went off. Jack ducked. "Come on, Shorty!" came Slim's voice. Jack looked up. Slim was riding the mare. Jack was shocked. Then he thought Slim was going back to ride Dusty. Instead, Slim rode past him. As he got close to Annie, she took off on Sunset. The mare galloped after Sunset, and the band of Mustangs galloped after the mare. Bang, bang! Jack snapped the reins. "Go, Dusty!" he said. Dusty leaped after the Mustangs. Jack nearly fell off. He clutched the reins in one hand and the saddle horn in the other. Bang, bang! The rustlers were on their horses now. They were getting closer. "Hurry!" Jack cried. Dusty cleared the rise in an awkward leap. Jack started to slip out of the saddle. He let go of the reins and tried to hold on to the saddle horn, but his weight pulled him down. He closed his eyes as he fell to the ground. Bang, bang! "Oh man," thought Jack, "this is the end." He opened his eyes. Dusty was looking at him. Jack scrambled up and tried to climb back into the saddle. It was hard without Slim's help.
As Jack struggled, he heard shouts from the rustlers. Their horses gave high-pitched neighs. Jack looked back. A shimmering white figure was moving across the top of the rise. The rustlers' horses were panicking and backing away. Jack didn't have time to think about what he was seeing. He knew it might be his only chance to escape.
Using all his strength, he pulled himself into the saddle. "Go, Dusty, go!" he shouted.
Dusty took off at full gallop over the prairie. Jack held on for dear life as they split the wind. Chapter 7. Ghost Story.
Jack balanced in the saddle. He felt the cool night wind against his face. He couldn't tell where they were going, but he trusted Dusty to follow the others. Finally, Dusty caught up with the herd as they began to slow down. Jack snapped his reins. Dusty came up beside
Slim and Annie.
"Howdy,"
"Howdy," said Slim.
"Howdy,"
"Howdy,"
said Jack. "Howdy," said Annie. "Are you okay?"
Jack pushed his glasses into place.
"Yep,"
"Yup," he said.
"You?" "Yep," she
she
said.
"That
"There was some good riding, Shorty,"
said Slim.
"Thanks," said Jack, smiling. He even liked behind
called
called Shorty now.
"Where
"Where you headed,
boss?"
boss?" Jack
Jack
asked
asked
Slim.
Slim.
"Blue Canyon,"
said
said Slim.
"Okay
with you?"
"Yup,"
said Jack. "This way," said Slim. He slapped his horse and speeded up again. Slim steered the horse to the left. Soon he led them through a deep, narrow pass. Finally, they came to the bossy open space surrounded by walls and rocks and lit by moonlight. "We'll corral the Mustangs here in the Blue Canyon," Slim said. He got off his horse. He held Jack down. Then he slipped off Sunset. "Take Kane to his mom,"
Slim told Annie.
Annie led Sunset to the mare. In the moonlight, the two Mustangs rubbed against one another and neighed.
As
As
Jack patted Dusty's damp neck, he remembered the last two rules: praise and reward.
Thanks, he whispered to Dusty. "You were great. You were super great."
Slim unsaddled Dusty, then handed Jack his saddlebags. "Take those over to that grassy spot. We'll camp there," he said.
As Jack carried the saddlebags, his boots held stiff and tight. His legs were sore and wobbly, but he didn't mind. He threw down the saddlebags and his backpack. Then he flopped himself down. He was very tired, and he joined him. They seemed so happy to be free and together again, she said, gazing at the moonlit Mustangs. "Yep," said Jack. He laid back, using his backpack and pillow.
He looked up
He
at the
looked at
stars.
stars.
If
"If you just had the answer to the riddle, everything would be perfect," he said. "Yep,"
"Yep,"
said
said Annie.
Annie. "Hey, Slim," he called. "I have a question for you." "Shoot," said Slim. "Do you know the answer to this riddle?" Jack asked. "Out of the blue, my lonely voice calls out to you. Who am I? Am I?" "Sorry,"
Slim was silent for a moment,
then
then
said,
said,
"Sorry,
"Sorry,
Shorty. I don't know that one."
Jack's
Jack's
heart
heart
sank.
sank. "That's
"That's
okay,"
okay,"
he said.
he said.
"We don't
"We don't
either."
either,"
"I have a question too," said
said
Slim.
Annie. "Why does the piano in the hotel play
Played
by
by
itself?"
itself. "I do know the answer to that one," said
Slim.
"What is it?"
"What is it?" said
said
Annie.
Annie. "It's
lonesome.
Lonesome Luke," said
Said
Slim.
Slim.
"He's a
He's
ghost of a cowboy who wanders the prairie." Jack
Jack
sat
sat
straight.
straight up.
I
saw
saw
him.
him. I
I
saw him. He said. "I just remembered. He scared the rustlers. If they caught him, I never would have got away." "Oh, yeah," Slim chuckled. "Well, lucky for us, Lonesome Luke sometimes likes to help folks out." Slim threw his saddle down next to Jack, and Annie jumped against it. Years ago, Lonesome Luke had a gal
he
he was just crazy about.
said Slim. She
She
couldn't
couldn't
take the Wild West, though. So she went back east.
What
What
happened
happened
then?
then?
Annie.
asked Jack.
Luke went loco.
Every
Every
night
night
he'd
he
show
showed
up at
the
the hotel
hotel
and
and played the piano. He played the Red River Valley over and over. Then one night,
he just
vanished into the prairie, and was never seen alive again. His bones were found a year later.
But
But
folks say his ghost returns to the hotel piano
and
to play Red River Valley. It goes like this. Slim took out a harmonica.
He began to play a song. It was the same sad song Jack and Penny had heard in the hotel. Jack lay back and listened to the lonesome tune.
A coyote howled in the distance. The horses stirred in the dark.
I better take some notes, thought Jack. But he didn't write a word before he fell asleep. He didn't even take off his boots.
Chapter 8. Who am I? A
fly buzzed by Jack's ears. He slapped it away. He opened his eyes. The sun was high above the canyon walls. He had slept a long time. Slim and Annie were sitting by a fire drinking from tin cups. Coffee? Biscuits? Annie asked Jack. Where did you get them? Said Jack. A cowboy always carries biscuits and a canteen of coffee, said Slim. He walked over and gave Jack a biscuit and a cup of coffee. It's hard as a rock, Slim said, and bitter as muddy river water. But the cowboy's taste of it again. Jack took a bite and a sip. The biscuit was very hard, and the coffee was very bitter. But that's okay with Jack. Since Cowboy didn't mind, he didn't mind either. I settle up Dusty, Slim said, and take you back to the town to catch stage. Then what'll you do? Said Annie. Herd sass with herd, said Slim. Sell them. Then ride across the plains and run Mustangs. Well, Slim said to Dusty. Jack took out his notebook and pencil. He wrote, Cowboy breakfast, bitter coffee, hard biscuits. Hey, Shorty, called Slim. What are you doing? Taking notes, said Jack. What for? He likes writing things down, said Annie. Oh, yeah, said Slim. Me too. In fact, I first came out west to write the book. But one thing led to another. The next thing I know, I must think harder. Slim, you should write your book, said Annie, and let the Mustang go free. Think so? Said Slim. They looked at the grazing wild horse. I know so, said Annie. Yup, said Jack. Your book should be about the Wild West, Slim. Slim kept staring at the herd. Maybe you're right, he said. I could settle in the Laramie right there. Wouldn't have to change the restaurant anymore. Slim turned back to Jack and Annie. Yup. I think I'll be a writer. Let's go. Before I change my mind, he said. Yay, said Annie. I'll go tell them. She jumped up and ran to the Mustangs. Jack packed his backpack, while Slim packed his saddlebags. Then Slim and Jack climbed up Dusty. They rode to Danny, who was stroking Sunset's neck. I told him he's afraid of the wind now, said Annie. Sounds good, said Slim. Give me your hand, Smiley. Slim pulled Danny onto Dusty. She sat in front of Jack. Slim snapped his reins. Dusty started off. The sun was hot, and Dusty climbed out of the canyon. When they reached the top, they peered down at the canyon floor. The Mustangs pranced playfully, their coats shining in the hazy light. They'll find their way out soon, Slim said. Then cut across the prairie. Yell goodbye to your pals, Smiley. Stay with your brother, Sunset, shouted Annie. Goodbye. Out of the blue, the voice called, Bye. Annie gasped. Who said that? She asked. The ghost? Nope, said Jack. It's just an echo. It's caused by sound bouncing off the canyon walls. Slim cupped his hands around his mouth. Who am I? He shouted. Am I? came the distant voice. "Oh, man," Jack said softly. "That's the answer to Morgan's riddle," said Annie. "Echo!" she and Jack said together.
Jack
Jack
looked at
looked
Slim.
listening.
You knew the answer last night,
he said.
Slim just smiled and snapped his reins.
"Let's go, partners," he said.
Chapter
Chapter
9. Lonesome Luke. The
The sun was low in the sky when they reached the rattlesnake floods. "Just let us in front of the hotel," said Annie. "You sure the stage is coming through here?" said Slim. "Yup," said Chick and Annie together. In front of the hotel, Slim got down from Dusty. They helped Jack and Annie fatten. "I'll hope you'll come to learn me and visit me," said Slim. He winked. "I might be needing some help on my book." "Sure," said Annie. Slim called on the back of Dusty. He looked down at Jack. "You know, Shorty," he said, "you might be short, but you're mighty tall in the brains." "Thanks," said Jack. "And Smiley," Slim said, "your great courage is nothing to smile about." "Thanks," said Annie. "Good luck with your riding, Slim," said Jack. "I'm grateful you both steer me straight," said Slim. "I promise I'll thank you someday." "Really?" said Annie. "A cowboy never goes back in the woods word," said Slim. Then he snapped his reins and Dusty loped down the street. "Bye, Slim!" yelled Annie. Slim coolly turned one last time. Then he said, "So long, partners," he called. Then he rode off to sunset. Jack let a deep sigh. "Okay, I'm ready to take our boots off now," he said. "Me too," said Annie. They sat on the porch of the hotel. They started pulling off their boots. "There!" Jack got them both off. He wiggled his toes. He took off his sneakers out of the pack and put them on. Annie put hers on too. "Man, sneakers never felt so good," said Jack. Suddenly the sound of the piano drifted through the air. "Lonesome, look!" said Annie. Jack grabbed his bag. He and Annie crept across the porch. They pushed the open swinging door. The piano was playing Red River Valley. Sitting on the piano stool was a dim but shimmering safe under a cowboy. Just then the ghost of Lonesome looked at Jack and Annie. He waved a shimmering hand. Jack and Annie waved back. Then the ghost of Lonesome Look faded away. Cold air wafted past Jack and Annie. They both shivered. "Oh man, let's go," breathed Jack. Then leaped and dashed up the dusty road. They ran across the cracked ground and past the graveyard. They ran until they reached the tree with the magic treehouse in it. Annie grabbed the rope ladder. She hurried up and Jack followed. They were out of breath and got inside the treehouse. Annie grabbed the ancient scroll. She unrolled it. "Yay!" she said. The scroll had one gloating word on it.
Echo.
"We got it right," said Annie. Jack grabbed the Pennsylvania book. He pointed to a picture in the Fall Creek woods. "I wish we could go there," he said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still.
Chapter 10. Echo from the Past.
Jack and Annie looked outside. The sun had slipped behind the trees of the Fall Creek woods. Annie still held the ancient scroll. She put it in the corner next to the scroll from their ocean trip. "Just 2 more to go," she whispered. "Yup," said Jack. He unzipped his pack. He pulled out Days of the Wild West. He put it on the top of the stack of books. "Ready?" he said. Annie was staring at the books. Her mouth dropped open. "What's wrong?" asked Jack. Annie just staring. "How's you gone nuts?" said Jack. Annie pointed at the Wild West book.
Read
The cover,
she said.
Jack picked up
He read the
the
title
aloud.
aloud.
Days of the Wild West.
West. He looked at Annie.
So,
Keep
reading, said
said
Annie.
Annie.
The author's name was below the title.
It was in smaller letters.
Jack read, Slim Cooley. Jack gasped. His mouth dropped open. He and Annie stared at the words for a long moment. Oh man, whispered Jack. We were using Slim's book. The book he wrote after he left us. Jack and Annie shook their heads with wonders. Jack opened Slim's book. He looked at the title page. At the bottom of the page, he read, Texas Press, Dallas, 1895. He turned the page. He read the dedication. With thanks to Smiley and Shorty, to strangers who changed my life. Jack looked at Annie. Slim dedicated the book to us? He said. Yup, said Annie. She smiled. Jack placed Slim's book back on the stage of books. Then he and Annie left the treehouse and climbed down the ladder. As they started through the woods, the trees were alive with bird sounds. The air felt soft and moist. Frog Creek seemed so peaceful, said Jack. No rattlers, no rustlers, no ghosts. Yeah, but no Slim Cooley either, said Annie sadly. I know, said Jack, but when we read this book, it's like he's still talking to us. Oh, right, said Annie. You mean it's like an echo from the past? Yeah, said Jack softly. Wow. Just then, out of the blue, a voice called, Jack, Annie. It's Dad, said Annie. Coming, she and Jack shouted. Then they ran all the way home through the long shadows of the setting sun. 이게 마지막 챕터의 마지막 장이었습니다. 또 뒤에 Red River Valley 가사가 써있고 이 뒤에 다음 책 예고가 있습니다. 네. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 구독 부탁드립니다.
From this valley they say you are going. I shall miss your sweet face and bright smile. For they say you are taking the sunshine that has brightened my pathway a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. For remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy who loved you so true. There never could be such a longing in the heart of a poor cowboy's breast as dwells in this heart you are breaking while I wait in my home in the west. Do you think of this valley you're leaving? Oh, how lonely and dreary it will be. Do you think of the kind hearts you're grieving and the pain you are causing to me? From this valley they say you are going. I will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. For they say you are weary and tired and must find a new range for a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me.
행복한 매일 보내세요. 감사합니다.